This is really not a peaceful protest. This is beginning to be more like a riot than anything else. How you doing? This is Coffee Break with Jimmy, and what we're going to talk about today is the riots in Los Angeles and New York, and riots, peaceful protesting. They did this when the George Floyd was back in was it 4 years ago when Derek Chauvin was the police officer and went on to jail because they said he didn't do the proper process, wasn't the proper process for detaining him and George Floyd, and it killed George Floyd, which I don't think was the case. I think he was he'd overdosed on, and even the coroner said that he'd overdosed on drugs, but they convicted Derek Chauvin anyway. But this was a little bit different. But these riots in L.A., they've called in the National Guard troops. Pete Hegseth said something about maybe bringing Marines from Camp Pendleton or 29 Palms, but since he said that, they backed that off a little bit, and they're just going with the National Guard troops, which really that's all they really need right now, just to keep the peace there. When they're protecting the federal buildings, they're protecting the people there, and they're firing off tear gas, and these protesters are throwing tear gas back. They're throwing rocks and bottles and everything at the police officers, and I didn't see any thrown at the National Guard troops. Maybe they have, but I know they're throwing things, and this is really not a peaceful protest. This is beginning to be more like a riot than anything else. But this has been going on since Friday, and now it's Sunday, and I think the National Guard will take care of it and keep them at bay. But this is all going on at the same time that Elon Musk. He was just in last week. He was in the Oval Office with President Trump, and he was going back to his companies, the car companies, SpaceX, and his communications companies. He was going back to take care of his business, and he was going to be only part of Doge for 100 days, 150 days, something to that effect. So we all knew he was going back. But now they're saying some things. He's saying some silly stuff about Trump, and there's something about him being on Trump being on Epstein Island or being part of that. And I tell you what, if Trump had anything to do with Epstein, I think he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago one time. He came over there and he told him to leave. Trump didn't like him. But if there's anything, if he was part of that at all, believe me, the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, someone would have brought that up, and but they never did. And now Elon Musk says something. Elon Musk has got to back off, probably apologize to the president, because there's something that the bigger picture here is the president is doing this bill. Everything that he's doing is for the people. And Elon Musk was on board with that. He knew that the president got shot at. Come on. And he said, fight, and he got up and he stayed in the race because this guy's for real. And Elon Musk realized that Donald Trump is for real. And that's why he came into his administration he wasn't elected. He was an advisor. He was an advisor, a personal advisor to Donald Trump. And a good one at that. But he's the one that ran Doge. And they found all the fraudulent spending like USAID, and they ended that. I know they were going to work on the fraudulent spending in the military, and I believe Pete Hegseth and Elon Musk and Doge, they're working on that anyway. But there was other places, and I know that personally. When I said this on a podcast before about the little screw that cost $50 on a safety screw on the jet engine, and you could buy a little box of them for about $1.19 at the time for about 20 of them for the same screw. So there's a lot of wasteful spending, always has been, in the military and other things. And Doge is finding all that stuff out. So Elon Musk needs to get back on track and do what he said he was going to do and what he was doing. And everybody was happy that he was doing this. I mean, the Democrats, once he left the Democratic Party, or if he's an independent or he's a Democrat, I have no idea. But I don't know if he ever became a Republican. I don't know that either. But I know he's on board with Trump's policies, and he was working with Donald Trump. But because he left, he wasn't happy with this bill. That he said a few things about that, and he said a few other things, and Donald Trump actually he's not really commenting on it. He's got other things that he needs to focus his attention on, and he knows that. So he's not really worried about that right now. So Elon Musk needs to be the one that comes back and say, hey, look, let's work this stuff out. Let's get back on track where we were before. And, you take care of politics and the country, and I'll advise you in any way that I can. And I think they need to get back on track with that. And I think there's a lot of people, including myself, that was really happy with Elon Musk. But anyhow, these riots that are going on, they've been going on for 3 days. Or, okay, let's call it peaceful protesting when they're not peaceful at all. Not when they're throwing rocks and bottles and everything at the police officers and at the National Guard. And they're out there trying to keep the peace. And hopefully it'll be over with today. It doesn't look like it's going to be over anytime real soon. I think I saw 3 cars burning out there in the middle of the street. They had people on the freeways already. They had, and this is going on in other cities, in New York, and I think Chicago's even got some protests going on over there too. And they said 7 major cities. I think maybe Denver, Colorado is also, probably Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington. I wouldn't be surprised. But this stuff is going on right now, and we need to bring it to an end. And we need to get this bill passed because that's what's best for the country. Maybe some things can be adjusted. Maybe the senators will talk about that and work that out with the president, and get the debt ceiling lowered. Maybe the debt ceiling is too high. There's still a lot of excess spending that doesn't even happen right now. And that's what we were elected him for, to keep the costs down to all of us. We're paying less taxes here in California is outrageous. That's why I don't know why Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, they didn't do a good job with the fires there in Malibu and in Altadena, and all that stuff went haywire. Gavin Newsom didn't do anything about that. That was a mess. Karen Bass, she was out of the country at the time. And now she's there saying they're going to stop this. Well, they're not doing anything. It took 2 hours for even the police department to react. To help out the ICE agents that were there to deport these illegal aliens. All that stuff's going to happen. That's what we elected Donald Trump for, to get rid of the illegal aliens here, and especially the bad ones. Come on, there are the bad ones that got through that. They were gotaways, right? And so those are being caught right now, and a lot of them already. There's, I don't know how many thousands of people they've already deported. They got some in El Salvador, at a prison in El Salvador, and now I know that Abrego Garcia, they brought him back because they found they said he needs his due process. Well, due process is for citizens. That's the due process, the legal way for us. People who aren't citizens, I don't believe they're allowed due process, and that's what they're complaining about. Now, I don't know the people that are the protesting, or I don't know if they're white, Hispanic, black. I don't know the makeup of all that, but I'm sure they're mostly Democrat, and that's for sure. But this is something that's got to come to a stop, and it's got to come to a stop right now. But to me, it's all a diversion. It's a diversionary tactic to keep people from thinking about this bill that's facing the Senate right now. This beautiful bill that Donald Trump is trying to get passed, and I think that's pretty much what all this is—a diversionary tactic. But anyway, we're going to see what happens. The National Guard's in L.A. right now, and I guess they're going to bring in more. They may still bring in some Marines. They got Marines on the East Coast too. They're in Camp Lejeune and Cherry Point. So maybe they can bring some over. They got Army that's all over too. They could bring in. I know we're not. We don't need to bring in our military to our cities, but if it need be, if something has to happen to stop the rioting, well, that might have to happen. We'll wait and see what the president says or PCAS says about that. But right now, the National Guard's on call, and I think they'll take care of it. So anyway. Other than that, I mean, that's really what's going on right now. Elon Musk left the administration. I think he should come back, and he said he was going to come back and stay as part of Doge. And I think all that stuff needs to happen. And I think the riots and these peaceful protests need to stop, because to me that's just a diversion. So I guess we'll see what happens. It's been going on for a few days. So I guess. Check back with me next day or tomorrow or next day, and maybe we'll have some more information about this, and I'll have it on Coffee Break with Jimmy. So we will see you next time. Thanks.